So I'm out on a hike in today's adventure again to capture the sunset, just like in Sunday's video. However, I have to get this off my chest. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. You can see here, this is called the Kirkstone Pass Inn. It's a pub and it's incidentally England's third highest pub, which basically means that I've done most of the work in the Red Beast by driving all the way up here. This is a mountain pass road, so we're already pretty high up, even where I've parked. In saying that, I've got a hike up to a fell called Red Screes, and it should only be about an hour and a half maximum, but it's looking pretty steep, so I don't want to underestimate it. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Sunday's video where I was out capturing the sunset up the top of one of the fells, and I fancied it again, but I didn't fancy the big massive hike, so this seems like a nice little middle ground, you know. But yeah, super early. We've still got about 4 hours till the sunset, so there's going to be a lot hanging about at the top of this particular fell, I think. But that's never a bad thing now, is it? So we're not too far from the top. Just wanted to give you a quick 360 already. Just got to get up there a little bit more. Already we're getting some gorgeous views. We're looking here. Oh, I'm shattered back towards Windermere. Honestly, it is beautiful. Light's still a little bit harsh, so I won't do any photography just yet. I just want to pop an image up on the screen here. This is a photograph that I captured in Sunday's video. Now, if you've seen Sunday's video, you'll know the crack. If not, I'll put it up in the corner if you want to watch it. But basically, I went up to this particular fell to capture a wide shot with my 16 to 35mm lens. And I got it. I got a couple of them wide shots and I was really happy with it. It's pretty much exactly what I had in mind. However, this particular telephoto photograph was my favourite from that particular hike, which kind of surprised me a little bit, you know, in hindsight. And that's kind of, I can hear a jet somewhere. That's kind of my inspiration for today's adventure. I wanted to come up this mountain and prioritise using my telephoto lens, looking at layers and shapes and all those sorts of things that I've been talking about so much recently. So that's the plan really. That's not to say I won't get any wide photographs, you know. I've still got my wide angle lens with me, things like that. So yeah, that's the plan. Bit of a loose plan, so it is. But let's crack on up to the top of Red Screes, see what we can find. Alright, so I've been thinking about something. It's still ages till the sunset, and I've been up here for about an hour now, and it's just meant I've had loads of time to think. Now, I'm not quite sure how to say this, but I'm going to try. Basically, sunsets and sunrises, but definitely more sunsets as far as I'm concerned, are my comfort zone when it comes to landscape photography. That's where I feel confident, you know. If I come up to a fell and I'm going to be around for sunset, I feel, you know, fairly sure that I'm going to get back down and be happy with at least one of the images that I've captured, because it's my comfort zone. Now, there's something about that doesn't quite sit right with me, and I think what it is I don't know if I'm challenging myself enough, basically. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a sunset and I will continue to photograph them. It's something I'm really passionate about. I'm incredibly inspired by those sorts of conditions. Of course I am. I'm a landscape photographer. But just on this one occasion at least, I want to challenge myself. So what I've decided to do is forget about sunset. I'm not going to let it rule me. I'm going to actually go back down the mountain before the sun goes down, and I'm going to work with what we've got right now, which is basically high contrasts, harsh light. So I'm thinking 3 words: black and white. So, high contrast, black and white, and telephoto. 3 things that's going to take me just slightly outside of my comfort zone, you know. But I'm excited for it, you know. I'm going to challenge myself. So there's a few images that I've got in mind. So I'm going to get set up in a second and see if I can work them. I'm going to put my D7200 in the sort of monochrome setting, which will basically show me the live view in black and white, which is amazing. A feature that I've never used because I've never been mad into black and whites. But I'm looking forward to this, guys. A little bit of a challenge. So let's get the tripod set up and see how we fare. Alright, so first black and white photograph of the day, and honestly I feel good about it. I feel pretty confident about, not confident, but you know, I'm pleased with what I'm seeing on the back of my camera, let's say. So even though like my viewfinder, I guess if you had a mirrorless camera, your electronic viewfinder would probably show up in black and white, you know, if you put it on monochrome mode. Let me know in the comments. I'm assuming that's what you do, whereas this, because it's just a normal viewfinder, it doesn't. So I find I'm using my live view a lot more because it's showing me, you know, the photograph in black and white. But that's fine, you know, I use my live view quite a lot for composing anyway, especially for the sort of fine tuning. It's layers, guys. So I've got the 55 to 300. I'm at about probably 90mm looking at the lens there. But there must be 3 or 4 layers, and then all day today in the lakes we've just had this beautiful sort of low-hanging cloud making its way across the fells. It was a really misty morning, and I think all it is that mist has sort of risen, and throughout the rest of the day it's just kind of lingered on the tops of the fells. But yeah, I'm just going to fire another shot of here. It's all about layers. So I'm in landscape orientation, like I say, probably 3 or 4 layers. But what's really nice about this is the different shades of black. So it's not like we've got loads of different light, but I think, you know, the closer fell is really black, it's almost silhouetted, and then it seems to get brighter as we go off into the background, and I really like that. You know, it's like we've got separation between the fells, which adds a lot of depth to the photograph. And then kind of at the top of the frame we've just kind of got all this sort of low hanging cloud, which is adding this sort of atmosphere to the whole photograph. You can see every now and again we are getting some beautiful light. That's why I'm taking a few images, because the light's very changeable off in the distance as well. So yeah, I'd say again it's about layers. If I was going to try and explain what I'm trying to do here, it's about layers and all the different shades of black. So light, basically. That's the reason why we've got these different shades, because it depends where the light's hitting the fells in the background. And that's all I'm trying to utilise by shooting in black and white here. So I'm shooting at f9 ISO 100 on 1/100th of a second. So strictly speaking, I definitely don't need the tripod. But you know me, I love a tripod. This lens has got vibration reduction as well, so even more so. Yeah, it just helps me to fine tune my compositions and stuff. But as a first one of the day, as images go, black and white, outside my comfort zone ever so slightly, it's not bad. So I hope that one turned out alright. Now, for this second photograph, I have just spanned my camera around 90 degrees. I mean, I've done this loads, you know, in the past. I think sometimes that's the beauty being up a mountain and using a telephoto lens. You don't really have to do much work with your legs if you don't want to. So before anything I'll say here, this shot is going to be incredibly abstract. You're either going to like this one or you're going to hate it. Really abstract. There's not a lot in this image whatsoever. And basically what we're doing here is, obviously you can see behind me there, we're basically shooting into the sun. The light's incredibly harsh, but this is all part of the challenge. You know, this isn't something that I'd ever usually do. But we've got a few fells off into the background, and with the telephoto lens, I'm zoomed in a little bit further, closer to 200mm in this instance. We're actually capturing a little bit of some of the ridge lines of a couple of these fells, and we're still getting layers, just like in that last photograph. But yeah, it's incredibly abstract, and because the sun is actually behind these fells, it's like this really strong backlight. So the mountains are just coming up silhouetted, black. But in my opinion, you know, it looks wonderful, very abstract. And every now and again, as you can probably see, as this cloud's moving through, I'm trying to capture the image as there's some of this low-hanging cloud within the frame. Same as the last image again, because it's adding a little bit of atmosphere. Now settings-wise, it's still ISO 100 and f9, but my shutter speed naturally is a hell of a lot faster here because we're shooting right into the sun. I think it was closer to like 1/1000th of a second. So if there was ever a moment for me not to use a tripod, this is probably it. But I'm still here using it. Ridiculous. But yeah, I'll pop this one up for you to see. Please let me know down in the comments whether you like this or not. Like I say, it's another Marmite shot, guys. You're gonna love this or you're gonna hate it. Let me know. So I took one more photograph, and it's the reason I really taught you guys through it is it's very similar to the last Marmite one that I just took. Also very abstract, but again, I mean, I can only really tell from what I'm looking at on my LCD screen. At least it's showing me in black and white. I'd say this one's probably going to be my favourite of the day. Yeah, pretty much the same concept as the last one that you've just seen, but more layers, and I feel like the fells are a lot more silhouetted and black, and I just like that. So real nice to try something different, you know. Really have enjoyed it, and hopefully the photographs have come out all right. Fingers crossed. Quite hard to do in these gloves. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I guess I'll challenge yous. If you don't usually shoot in black and white, go out and shoot in black and white. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.